Welcome back to another video. We are going to be doing Network Services 2 Part 3. Enumerating and exploiting more common network services and misconfigs. We're up to task 8, 9, 10, and we'll finish off with 11, rounding out this whole thing. Cool. Alright, let's start off with task 8, understanding MySQL. Just before I do, I'm going to remind you, if you want a written write-up, you can catch the link to that below. If you'd like to subscribe, leave a comment, any feedback would be great. With that being said, there was something else. Part 1 and 2 are already posted, so if you'd like them, check the links or cards. Cool. Now, task 8, understanding MySQL. Alright, what is MySQL? In the simplest definition, it is a relational database management system, RDBMS, based on structured query language, SQL. Too many acronyms? Yes. Database. A database is simply a persistent, organized collection of structured data. RDBMS, Relationship Database Management System, is a software or service used to create and manage databases based on a relational model. The word relational just means that the data stored in the data set is organized as tables. Cool, good to know. Every table relates in some way to each other's primary key or key factors. So if you've done some like web development and that, this will sort of make sense. I have been in the web design world, so more front end stuff. So this is not that familiar for me. So if you're not that familiar with it, then cool. If you are, please reach out. Teach me some stuff. Cool, MySQL is just a brand name for one of the most popular software implementations. As we know, it uses, maybe I didn't know, a client-server model, but how do this client and server communicate? They use a language, specifically SQL. Many other products such as PostgreSQL, I have seen that. I'm pretty sure my DaVinci Resolve, my video editing software, uses that to store all the projects. Microsoft SQL, does anybody use that? Is that like really popular? Probably lots of legacy systems. I have no idea, I'm just guessing. Have the word SQL in them, the similar significance that the product is utilizing the structured query language syntax. All right, how does MySQL work? MySQL, as a relationship database management system, is made up of the server and utility programs that help in the administration of the databases. So the server handles all database instructions like creating, editing, and accessing tables, takes, manages these requests, and then communicates them to MySQL protocol using the MySQL protocol. This whole process can be broken down into 3 steps. MySQL creates the databases for storing, manipulating data, and defining the relationship of each table. 2, clients make requests by making specific statements in SQL. And then 3, the server will respond to the client with whatever information has been requested. So I guess we'll be learning about like SQL injection, where we can essentially feed in something else and it will respond back with whatever we ask. So yeah, it's crazy, really interesting. So what runs it? So it can run various platforms like Linux, Windows, most commonly in the back end of databases for prominent websites in forms of some essential components in the LAMP stack, which is something, and something, I can't remember, which includes, here we go, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Obviously, I'm just kidding. I know what a LAMP stack is. Okay, so here are some resources that explain technical, so cool, more stuff to read another time. What type of software is MySQL? And the full thing, so we got relational database management system. I bet I said relationship when I said it fast. I can't remember. What language is MySQL based on? So S and a Q and an L. What communication model does MySQL use? So I think it's the same as the others, which was the client-server model, but I am prepared to be very, very wrong. Wow, I am not. What is a common application of MySQL? A common application of MySQL. This is another product of SQL, not MySQL. What is a common application? Maybe the Microsoft SQL Server might be common. No, that wasn't right. So 4.3 and something. 4.3 and something. What's a common application? I don't remember reading an application. It's the only time the word application has been used. A database so we got a database, but that's not really SQL. It's a model, but okay, they use a language specified. The LAMP stack is implementation of MySQL, but not a database. Something database. Bit of a stumper. I'm not sure on that one. Okay. What major social network uses MySQL as the backend? I actually remember this from when I went through. It was Facebook. And yeah, you can just look that up and you can find it pretty fast. All right, what is a common application? Oh my god, I do not know. Feel free to leave this video while I read everything again. It's commonly used backend. Backend database. That'll be it. Boom. So this trips me out. The term application trips me out because I always think of like a really front-facing application, or but a database is a program, is an application too. So back-end database. Awesome. I did forget to start that up, so I'm gonna press that now. So that'll take 60 seconds. So we're gonna do another port scan, and we're gonna be trying to find out some information. But we got to. So I'll start reading, and then we can do a port scan once that's up. So before we begin, let's deploy the room. Give it some time. So MySQL is likely not going to be the first point of call when getting initial information about the server. You can, as always, and we have in previous tasks, attempt to brute force default account passwords if you really don't have any information. However, in most CTF scenarios, this is unlikely to be the avenue you want to pursue. The scenario typically you will have gained some initial credentials from enumerating other services that you can then enumerate and exploit MySQL services. As this room focuses on exploiting and enumerating the network services, for the sake of the scenario, we're going to assume that you have found credentials root and password. Cool, so that's just, instead of them creating a whole series of other steps that we have to do to find root and password, they'll just give it to us. All cool, all cool. While enumerating subdomains on a web server after trying to log in against SSH unsuccessfully, you decide to try it against MySQL. Cool. So requirements, you'll have MySQL installed on your system. So let's see if we have, do we have going to run MySQL, okay, _SQL. So I don't know if okay, we're using Metasploit. But we do have MySQL installed, so we can see that by coming up green, so that's cool. So we'll do a quick port scan this time around on our system. So I'm just going to go nmap -pp. This time I'm actually just going to get rid of this -pp because we're essentially being handed a lot of information, so we need to do this a little bit quicker. So I'm not going to scan all the ports. I'm just going to do a, I honestly probably didn't even need to do the -A for scripts and that. So I've already got 3306, and since it's 4 digits, I'm assuming that's what we're after. So I'm just going to let that run anyway, and let's come over here. So great. So let's go MySQL-H. So we have an IP rather. Paste that in there. The username. So we've been given that username, which was root, and then -P. Now it doesn't say commands. See if so. We have a password, which was password. Welcome. Commands G. Cool. So we are in. So we're not in a Unix or Linux shell or Bash shell, rather. We're in MySQL this time around. So I don't know. Things like terminal, who am I aren't going to work. So it's different. It's different. Okay. Cool. So our scan had finished anyway, so we can just cat that out and grab. So we just got the MySQL on 3306 and the SSH. So yeah. All right. Cool. Okay, now we have our login credentials. Let's work. Let's quit out of the section here. So I'm just going to leave that in the background. And launch Metasploit. So remember MSF console and -Q. So we're going to be using MySQL_SQL module. So I'm just going to copy that and we're going to search for it and then see if we can. I'm not sure if we're going to create a payload. We might be creating a payload to copy paste and execute here to receive a reverse shell. So we'll see what the room has installed for us. So we want to search that. So we only got one option that matches it. So we can copy that in and submit that. So we got that. Cool. So hint is separated by things. Yes. So that's not right. So let's just. So we don't want the full auxiliary. Is that what you're after? Okay, let's just read this again. Search for select list options. What 3 options do we need to set first? Oh, sorry. It's not asking us for that. So let's just use 0 and let's just look up our options. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So we've got our hosts / our ports /SQL. What's saying we might need to do other ones like our hosts, password, and then username. Oh wait, was that in order? That was not in order. Okay. So that's what it wants, just sort of guessing there. So we're going to set the password, which we know is password. We need to set our hosts, which have the IP. And okay, so we don't need to set the R port because it's using the, I assume that this is the default port, just because it's the same here. We don't need to specify the version of SQL, even though it is required. I guess there's probably some default, whatever. And we need to specify username. Okay. So let's do this by specifying password, and that will just be lowercase password. And then we're going to set our hosts, and that's going to be our IP. So we'll just paste that in to the system that we're looking at, and then set user name, and that's going to be root. Okay, so we should just be able to go run. But before I do that, run the exploit. By default, test with the select version command. Oh, wait, did I misunderstand this? SQL. So is this the SQL to execute? Oh, I understand. This is not asking for a version. This is actually an SQL command that will be executed. So if we run this, we should get back the version that it's running because it ran. So we can essentially now run any SQL. So we just need to find the right SQL. So what does it give us? So it gave us this back. Cool, great. We know that our exploit is landing as planned. Let's try to gain some ambitious information. Change the SQL option to show databases. Ooh. Set SQL to show databases, and then we'll run it again. And how many databases are returned? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, cool. Let's move over to our last task. Task 10 for exploiting MySQL. So what do we know? Let's take a sanity check before moving on to try and exploit this database fully and gain more sensitive information on the database than just the database names. I just want to take a second because I do really like how it's sort of before, like, it's teaching us, you know, to really understand what we're doing to enumerate and then exploit. But I just like this last step before we exploit. It's just like, just make sure we've got everything. I think this is going to be good for once I'm more experienced, like, you know, down the track, you know, just you get used to everything, and it's just good to take your time, I guess. MySQL server credentials, so root password, the version of MySQL running, so we've got that here. And then the number of databases and their names, so we've got that here. So it's probably, I should really be keeping a list. So like, where is this? So if we just change into documents, yeah, here, we might just create a, what did I call the last one? I think I just call it, yeah, just go MySQL, SSQL underscore SQL. And I'm just going to copy some of this information over. So I should be doing this a lot more, basically. But, you know, live and learn. How do I undo? Was it Alt Z? No, can't remember how. Alt A? I can't remember how to. Whatever, I'll just leave it. Cool. So that's pretty much, we need this, and I mean, of course, we've got root and then password. I think I can remember that. But that's kind of it. So in MySQL, physically, a schema is key terminology. Okay, so we're just going to learn some key terms. Schema. A schema is synonymous with a database. You can substitute the keyword schema instead of database in MySQL SQL syntax. For example, using create schema instead of create database. It's important to understand the relationship because some other databases products draw a distinction. For example, in the Oracle database product, a schema represents only a part of a database, the tables and the objects owned by a single user. That's really confusing. I've never understood schema, to be honest. Like, saying it's like a database, I'm like, okay. Because I know, like, in SEO world, like for Google and stuff, schema is important, but never really got it. Hashes I have a little bit of understanding about. So very simple, a product of cryptographic algorithm, a cryptographic algorithm to turn a variable length into an input, fixed length output. So in SQL, hashes can be varied in different ways. For instance, an index data into a hash table. Each unique hash has a unique ID that serves as a pointer to the original data. This creates an index that is significantly smaller than the original data, allowing the values to be searched and accessed more efficiently. That's interesting. So I always associate hashes with like password hashing and like, you know, security, like, but it's also can just be used for a method of searching and accessing efficiently. However, the data, we're going to be extracting our password hashes, which are simply a way of storing passwords and not in plain text form. Let's start cracking. All right, let's search for a MySQL schema dump module. So we'll go search, paste that in there. Should be the only one, so we can just go use 0. So we've selected our tool here, but it's going to ask what is the full path. We can just chuck that in there. Great, now we've done a few times by now, so let's take it from here. Set the relevant options, run the exploit. What's the name of the last database? So we don't need to, oh wait, no, it said set the relevant options, okay. So let's have a set. So display results are true, so we're gonna set password. So that's just gonna be password, set our hosts. which is just going to be our IP that we're targeting, and then set username, which is just going to be root. Okay, so that is our exploit machine set up. So we can just hit run. So it's going to, I guess schema dump is like database dump. So it's just going to try and find all the info from the databases. What's the name of the last table that gets dumped? So we're looking for the last table. I don't know if there's like a verbose mode in Metasploit. I'm just going to save this off, by the way. MySQL. Just so I get some stuff here. Yeah, so cool. There we go. That was nice. So let's have a good old scroll. So, okay, there's a lot. I'm not going to scroll all the way to the top, but we just want the name of the last table. So table name. So we've got here, I'm going to assume including X, and I'll paste that in there. Weights global by latency. So I have no idea what this SQL database is. Awesome. Now you have dumped the tables and columns names of the whole database. But we can do better. Let's search and select MySQL hash dump module. Oh my gosh. How many things are in this tool that we can use? So what's the module full name? Whoops, I literally just... I'm sort of realizing that it's probably like, because you can use variables. I keep seeing this, you can use variables. I wonder if you can set like a variable of IP. So if I like, you know, set, like, if I was like, set our host to IP, like, but I set this as my IP, so I don't have to copy paste this every time. There's probably much more efficient ways of doing everything that I do the wrong way. Again, I'll learn them eventually. Again, I'll let you take it from here. Set the relevant options. So let's go up. Oh my gosh, options. So we've got password. So set password. So that was, oh yeah, password. Cool. Sorry, what am I doing? Set our hosts to this fella. And then we want to set the username to root. Cool, so that's set up. And then we should just be able to go run. And it's gonna say, cool, that was a lot faster. Ooh, so we're getting users and hashes. Well, that's cool. I mean, that's what a hash dump is. What non-default user stands out? Carl. Oh crap, I just went Carl. Carl stands out. So another user. Yeah, we got root. So, and we have the password hash. This could be very interesting. Copy the hash, string like full. So we'll copy this whole thing, and we'll just how do we? We can just nano a file and copy it in there, but we can also touch a. We can also echo this into a file. Is that how that works? That's not how it works. I'm just gonna create this and paste it in here. I always get. So we've got Carl and then we've got the hash. So one's like Bob and then the hash. So we've got that. And I just called it hash. Yeah. So if we cat out hash, so we've got this. So we're going to use John the Ripper. So what is the user hash combination? So we can just copy that in there like so. Sweet. Remember the hash, Carl, hash data. Got it. Okay, now we need to crack. So let's use John the Ripper against this. So it's just saying John against hash. But I thought, no, really, that was a lot easier. I thought we needed to use a word list. I thought we needed to also use something else, but no, cool. Awesome. Password reuse is extremely dangerous, but extremely common. What are the chances that we can use a different service like SSH, because SSH was running. So we can go Carl and we go @ then we can log into this user, yes please, and then we can go DOGGIE for doggy, and we can log in, hopefully. Stuff here. So we can cat out MySQL text, and we have got our final flag. Huzzah. Paste that in there, and go over to task 11. We've got some further reading. Add to the list, and we can complete our final task. Awesome. Good work. We did it. Huzzah. Yeah, so well done. Congrats. That's Network Services 2. We learned a lot from NFS to SMTP to MySQL, plus the Network Services 1 that we did, which is pretty awesome. So lots of stuff here. So I hope you took some notes. You've always got this video to come back into if you'd like. If you want to see more of this, please let me know. Leave a comment. If you want to subscribe, awesome. If you'd like to like the video or dislike, totally up to you. Either way, just let me know what you liked or disliked. Would love some feedback. If you have any comments that you'd like to make, please go down below, and there'll be a playlist for all of my other TryHackMe walkthroughs if you are interested. And don't forget, if you want a written write-up or you would like to subscribe to my newsletter, I do have a good newsletter that I put out monthly, and that'll be linked below too. Cool. With all that being said, have a good day. I'll see you in the next one.